Hi guys, Zach here with another Command & Conquer Red Alert video. In this game I'm going to play a series of 4 quick matches which I played on Tuesday. As you can see I'm currently ranked 120, so I'm going to try and improve on that. Right, I'm moving my MCV first of all to the top, up to the left. This is on Keep Off the Grass, and I'm playing a player called Ronaldo R9. He's ranked in the top 50, so it's going to be quite a tough match, I would suspect. Now, the reason I've moved my MCV a little bit is because I want my barracks to be located right on the corner of this field of gems. In this map, it's really important to keep control of that corner. I'm also going to put a pillbox there, and I'm just fighting these infantry that are coming in. I can see that he's also going for the same corner. Now, here I'm going to build my ore refinery before I build more pillboxes. If his space had been located a little bit closer to this corner, then I would have built more pillboxes and fought it out. But in this situation, I've decided to go for a bit of a gamble and build my ore refinery first, as it will give me an ore advantage later on. At this moment, what's really important is I just hold on to this position. I've built some rocket men also to punch a hole in that wall. Now I've got my ore refinery, I can focus a little bit on building more pillboxes, and I should be building more infantry, which I did forget to do at this point. So you can see that's allowed to give him a little bit of momentum. He's got a lot of infantry there, and it looks bad for me at the moment, so I'm going to have to use my ore truck in order to squash some of them. I made a second mistake here. You can see I tried to select my ore truck, but instead I selected that single infantryman. And so I was moving that single infantry guy, you can see in the top right, instead of moving my ore truck. So that was a bit of a disaster for me. I'm going to have to build a second ore refinery. I think he's doing the same now. As you can see, he's relaxed a bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move these troops up and around to the other side of his base. This is just to keep on applying pressure. I do this, he keeps on thinking about defending. He has less time to think about how he's going to attack me. And yeah, you can see he's having to move all his infantry to the left side of his base, which is going to make the right side a bit easier to defend. Yeah, and I'm just keeping him back. You can see he's actually having to sell some of his pillboxes. I think he's not spent a little bit too much, and he's not got enough for his ore refinery. That means I'm going to attack the right side of his base. His infantry, he's moving his infantry back. He's running them into my infantry, and they're getting slaughtered. Whenever you if you run infantry into stationary infantry, the stationary infantry will always win. And now you can see why having control of the corner is so important. He's having to move his pillbox out of there because he knows his ore truck, out of there because he knows it's going to get destroyed. And now I'm just sending my infantry into his base, and this is game over and he's selling up. So that was my first match. It went quite well. It's good for me. We both did make a few mistakes, but I went from rank 120 to 108 that match. Yes, affirmative. This next match is on the map Path Beyond. This is usually quite a good map for me. It has a mixture of ore and gems, so micromanagement of your ore trucks is quite important. Well, not micromanagement, but managing them is very important. I was also playing a guy called Windy, who's ranked just outside the top 200. If he beats me, he will be in the top 200. And on my last video, I played a 3v3 match on the Hills of Eyes against Windy, where Windy was on the team that beat mine. So I won a little bit of payback this match, so I'm going to be focused on trying my best. Of course, you would do that anyway, but right. So I've got my ore refinery down. I'm going to go straight for those gems. And I'm going to spread my infantry around the base. Now, one of the things I've been trying to improve on lately is how I use my infantry for scouting. I've been a bit lax usually in scouting. I haven't really got enough of the map uncovered, so I am trying to improve on that and get better at getting more of the map uncovered early on, so I have more visibility. And visibility is, of course, very important. You want to see what your opponent's doing, if they're moving, if they're going to go for an early infantry attack, if they're going to go for a light tank rush. And also, if you can, you do want to try and get in your opponent's base, if at all possible. Sometimes there is small openings. It happens to me sometimes when I leave a small opening, my opponent will find a way into my base. I especially want to keep an eye on this point here, because that's where he can expand his base to. So I want to see what's going on there. Now what's very unusual in this map so far is I haven't seen any of my opponent, I haven't seen any of his infantry. I would have expected to see some by now, coming towards the top right of my base, or sometimes the bottom left. And what's very weird also is he hasn't had any infantry at the top there, which makes me think, has he actually got any infantry at all? Which is very unusual. For any start, people usually build infantry nowadays. I know there's some people who didn't build them early on, but now in Command & Conquer, we usually see it all the time. And we can see he's got light tanks, he's got 2 war factories, and this looks like he's going for a light tank rush. I'm getting my second war factory down, I'm building medium tanks. I'm just going to have to build as much as possible. I'm getting a large power plant right now because I want to start building pillboxes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put pillboxes around the structures I think he's going to go for first. He looks like he's coming from the right, so I think he'll go for that right ore refinery first. So I think I'll put a pillbox around there. I'll need to put pillboxes around my construction yards, around my war factories maybe. But yeah, it's usually the ore refineries and construction yard which are the most popular targets. Sometimes they will go for the power plants as well and then go for the construction yard. It's not too bad if they go for the power plants and then they don't, as long as they don't get the construction yard, because you can always rebuild them quite easily. Right, you can see I've got a good number of tanks. He's probably left this rush actually a little bit late if he comes, even if he comes right now, because I have got quite a few medium tanks. And you can see he should have been in my base right now, but he's decided to pull them back and go from the other side. So this is a really bad tactic. Because if you're going to do a rush, the most important thing is that you get timing. You need to get those tanks to your opponent's base as early as possible, very early, because if your opponent's got a better economy, they're going to be building other tanks more quickly than you are. Because he's going to be struggling for cash now, there's no doubt about it. He's leaving his tanks there for some reason, so I'm just going to attack him, because at the moment I think I've got actually more tanks than he has, and you can see he's not being paying attention. He's lost about 4 tanks there. I've got a lot of pillboxes in my base. He's noticed now he's moving his tanks around, but I think it's a bit too late. And he's moving into my base. He'll see I've got lots of pillboxes. He's tried to fight one of the pillboxes. I think he's realised it's a bit of a lost cause. I've got another couple of tanks there, another 3 tanks there. So he's going to move his tanks out of my base now. I'm probably going to get another one before he moves out. The other 3 are damaged. And you can see that's been a very bad attack for him. He's lost a very large number of tanks, and he's also not done much damage to me at all. He's damaged none of my building. Well, he damaged the pillbox a little bit, but he didn't take out any of my buildings. And my tanks, I think all my tanks are probably intact. He might have got 1 or 2, but pretty much all my tanks are in good health. And I'm going to attack him right now. So now we're attacking him with greater numbers. You can see all my tanks are green, or were green. Still are actually at the moment. And yeah, he's just not got enough to defend. So that was a bit of payback for what happened in my last match on the Hills Have Eyes. So I won that. I went up from rank 108 to 106. So I didn't get as many points because he wasn't ranked as highly as me. This next match was on the map Ore Rift, and I was against Windy again. And I thought, since he tried a light tank rush last time, I thought I'll do one this time. The map Ore Rift is probably a good one to do a light tank rush on anyway. It's quite a long map, and I've seen a lot of success from people doing this sort of tactic. Right, so I'm still going to build infantry, even though I'm doing a light tank rush. I think infantry is a very important aspect. You need to get scouting. It does delay the timing of your light tanks, but I think it's well worth the sacrifice in order to defend your base. You don't want your opponent to get any visibility. If he knows you're doing a light tank rush, then he can prepare for it. Also, you need your scouts, as I said before in the last match, you need your scouts to see if your opponent's doing infantry rush, or if he's doing a light tank rush. You don't want to be sending your light tanks into his base if his light tanks are already at almost at your base. Because if he gets the head start and destroying your buildings, he's going to win. Right, and I'm sending them across the bottom here. One of the important things on this map is to get visibility along the bottom. That's because, and we can see he's got some infantry in the middle there. Because you want to see if your opponent's building a base in the middle, because that's quite a common tactic on this map. And actually the best way to counter someone building a base in the middle is a light tank rush. So it doesn't matter if your opponent's building in the middle, you don't have to change your tactics. You would have to change your tactics if you're going for the economic approach though. Because sometimes people like to go to the middle because there's more gems in the middle, and there's also some gems on the side, other ore patches which are sort of quite near to the middle. Right, so I'm sending my infantry into his base. He's been a bit lax on defending it with his infantry, so I can get a bit of visibility on what he's doing. And I'm still trying to get some, I've seen some of his, he's got a couple of troops up at the top there. They might be in the darkness, but I'm getting some light tanks now, and as soon as I'm getting light tanks, infantry is not as much as a problem. Or there. So I'm just going to squash them. And that's been costly for him. He should have used, I should get these, there shouldn't be a problem. I've got a few light tanks. Once you've got 5 light tanks there, they could just squash them all. I mean, he needed to use them earlier. I don't know if he was planning on doing if he was doing an infantry rush, then he should have definitely used them earlier. He might have been saving them for later though. He might have been thinking, right, I'm going to attack with light tanks from the bottom of his base, and I'll take my infantry into the top of his base. So that might be what he was thinking, and he thought because he was hiding them right at the top there that they were covered and I wouldn't see them. Right, so now I'm going to go into his base. I'm going to go for his construction yard. He's spent a lot on infantry, which has helped me a little bit. Squash those infantry there. He's got a couple of light tanks, but that shouldn't be a problem. And he's selling up. So that was that match over. And I went up from rank 106 to 102 from that match. So I went up a few more positions. And this is the final match in this video. I'm bringing my MCV into the middle, closer to the middle, because that's where the gems are. It's the map northwest. And most players do bring the MCVs very close to the middle because they want the ore truck not to have very far to travel. I've probably actually not gone far enough into the middle here. You can see I'm located a bit off, and that's a bit of a, yeah, it's not ideal. I need to be a few tiles to the right. You'll see when I place my ore refinery, it won't be quite as close to the middle as I would have liked, but it's not a disaster. It's fine. Right, infantry do play a big part in this map. The reason is even though it's quite a big map, because everyone goes to the middle, your bases end up being quite close to each other. And sometimes your infantry, if you're not careful, your ore refinery can get destroyed by infantry, so you do need to be very, very defensive. We will be very, very close probably. And I've destroyed some infantry there, that was quite good for me. And I see some infantry there, I'm just going to pull back, I'm going to make a wall. Yeah, you need a wall of infantry. We can see his ore refinery is going there. That means our bases are very, very close. His base is just at the other side of those infantry. So we are located very, very close together. Speed is going to be crucial. I'm getting my war factory down. You go straight for tanks on this map. Your bases are just too close together to go for more ore refinery, more ore trucks. And I'm going for my second war factory straight away. We are mining only gems, so that's going to help us a lot.
Yes, sir. Reporting.
I need to get that on gems. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use my medium tank just to split up his infantry, try and squash some. And if he scatters them, I'm going to send my infantry in. Yep, he's scattered. Send my infantry in, because when infantry start scattering, they're very easy to destroy. And I'm going to, as they're running, I'm going to try and destroy them. And that's been very, very good for me. I'm going to scatter them just to destroy that light tank. He's only got one light tank for some... Yeah, he hasn't got very many tanks for some reason. And I'm going to start destroying his base now. Going for the ore refinery. Now going for the war factory. And he's made a mistake building a second ore refinery. He should have gone for a second war factory because you need to build tanks quickly on this map. It's very, very important. You just go straight for tanks and get as many tanks as quickly as possible. Right, and you can see I'm up to rank 88, so I've got into the top 100 players now, so it's been a long time coming. Well, technically I've been in the top 100 before, but that was on the day when the ladders were reset, so that doesn't really count. I was actually ranked 3rd for a very short time, but this is the first time I've been in the ranked top 100. after, like a few weeks after the ladder has been reset. Now the question is, can I stay there in future games? Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed the video.